Wellness Warriors, welcome to this training where I'm going to explain to you the economics of running a profitable wellness business. Now, I'm going to be running through a couple of different models and starting with small practices, then moving through to medium practices, and then finally we're going to finish on a combination of one-to-one, which is like what you do with a small or medium practice, and combining that with one-to-many, because this is where the most potential for running a profitable practice comes from, and also reaching as many people as possible. So I'm going to explain all of these figures to you right now. So when you start off, you should aim to build up a small practice as quickly as possible. Now, that is a matter of getting 20 to 30 clients per week. For a lot of wellness practitioners I speak to, that seems like a bit of a long shot. But really, if you're not hitting 20 to 30 clients per week, then it's possible that you should go and just work in someone else's clinic and help to make them wealthy. But if you want to run a business and you want to have control over your time, you want to have flexibility, and you want to help as many people as possible, you need to start here. This is the foundation, 20 to 30 clients per week. Now, if you're seeing this many clients per week, which you can easily get to if you have the right marketing strategy in place, then you can actually run this, believe it or not, out of your own home. You can do this out of a spare room. Some locations you're not permitted to do that via their zoning laws, but a lot of places you can actually just run this out of your own home. So your fixed costs are very low. So this is a very attractive option to start off with. Now, if you're doing this, running this out of your own home, or you're just paying for a room, you can be generating something like $1,600 to $2,400 per week if you're charging about $80 for a session, for a 1 hour session. Now, after you've paid your expenses, you're going to be paying for marketing, and you're going to be paying some utilities and insurance and registration costs. You're going to be hitting about $1,000 to about $1,800 per week in profit. Now, that's pretty good. That's pretty good for a 40-hour week. You're going to have to do different activities as you do running a business. You're going to have to jump on and do some marketing, jump on the phone, do some calls, but that's a pretty fair little sum to be making as a small business owner after all expenses. Now, if you move over to here and you get to the medium practice stage, this is where you might go and hire out an actual facility, small facility in a town that you're living in or closer to the city, and you'll be seeing something like 40 to 50 clients per week. So you've jumped up to this range. And this is where you're going to be making around about $3,200 to $4,000 per week in sales. And for one of these days, you're going to have to get someone in to work with you. So another practitioner who's seeing clients as well as you for at least a day, more like a day and a half, in order to see 40 to 50 clients per week. And then after expenses, obviously your rent cost is going to go up if you're moving out of your home, you're moving into a more densely populated area, so commercial real estate is going to be more expensive. You're going to be clearing about $2,400 to $3,200 after expenses, after rent, utilities, registration, and insurance. And still, you're working the same amount of days. After you've paid your employee, this person that you've got in to help you, you're going to be sitting at about this kind of income. Now, that's great. You're going to be working hard. Your 40 hours is probably going to turn something into more like 50 hours, a bit more management involved, a bit more organization, and definitely you're going to have to boost up your marketing spend and time spent marketing, jumping on the phone, doing sales, all that kind of stuff. So that's a bit more responsibility and a bit more profit. Whereas here, this is where it gets more exciting. So when you combine one-to-many, so you start your own program, and I go into this in a different training, how to actually get all that set up one-to-many. This is where you can really start leveraging your time. Because over here, you're pretty much leveraged to the hilt. Like, you can't really do too much more here without actually taking over a lease of an entire facility with maybe 4 to 5 rooms, and then bringing people in, practitioners who can hire those rooms off you, or taking a cut of every client they see in exchange for you bringing them leads, bringing them clients through your marketing efforts. That's where it gets a little bit more complicated, and there's a bit more thinking involved, there's a lot more time, and you've got to be a lot better at organizing in order to make that work profitably. Whereas here, if you jump from small practice straight down to one-to-many, you're going to cut out all of this hassle, You're gonna cut out a lot of frustration and a massive learning curve in order to make this work really well. You're gonna come straight down and simply start off by seeing one-to-one clients 2 days per week. So that's 16 one-to-one consultations over the course of 2 days in a normal week. That's 8 people per day, 1 per hour. And over a fortnight, so every 2 weeks, you're gonna be seeing about 32 clients. That is where you start. And you're gonna be making about $2,560 if you're charging $80 for a session, which is normal, which is where the minimum of where you wanna be. Then if you simply mix in this one-to-many session, so you run a workshop, and again, I explain that on a separate training, and you see 10 people in that workshop, you bring 10 people in and you teach them something valuable around your modality, something that they can actually take and then go and practice themselves. So if you're a nutritionist, you might teach them the principles of creating a good eating plan. So you're not actually physically sitting down and writing the eating plan for them, but you're telling them all the different elements that are included in a good eating plan. And you're telling them how they can set up their shopping, how they can prepare some of these different meals that are going to be really good for their eating plan. And you run them through all of that, and you just run a workshop. So this is much more about education, educating people, empowering people to go out and change their lives. In a group setting, seeing 10 people, you charge about $120 for that. And you would do a half-day session. $120 for a half-day session workshop to give people the information, the knowledge, the understanding they need to go and make this change in their life. And you can do this as a massage therapist, as a nutritionist, as any modality which involves something that you can teach to a group, something that they can go out and take and do themselves. There's a lot of examples of things that you can do there, which I'll share in a different training. So you'll be generating about $1,200. And again, you're only running this once a fortnight. You don't have to worry about doing this every single week. Once a fortnight, you bring 10 people together in a room for half a day and you run one of these workshops. If you do this, you're going to be generating a total sales volume. If you combine your 32 per fortnight clients, again, only 2 days a week, 4 days every fortnight, so 4 days out of 14 days, and just one of these half-day sessions, half-day workshops. So you're really working 4.5 days and then add in another half day to do your marketing and organize the workshop. You're going to be generating about $3,700 and $3,760 in sales. Then you subtract your expenses out of that, around about $500 for your marketing and for your room rental for the workshop. Because remember, you can run this one out of your home. You can see 16 clients per week out of your home quite comfortably. So there's no rent involved in that. And then some of your utilities and your registration and your insurance. You're gonna be coming up at about $3,000 or just over $3,000 in profit. Okay, now look at this. You've worked the same amount of days, 5 days here, one-to-one combined with one-to-many. Whereas here, you've worked 5 days and you've worked 5 big days, right? Probably close to a 50+ hour week in order to make this work. And here you've worked 5 days. Now, what's the different profit and who are the amount of people's lives that you've changed in that time? Well, over here, you're peaking at about $1,800 profit in 5 days. Over here, you're peaking at about $3,200 profit in 5 days of work. Whereas here, you're generating about $3,250, $3,000 to $3,250 in 5 days, but this is 5 days every fortnight, right? This is 5 days, this is 1 week, this is 1 week, this is a fortnight. So in essence, you're working 5 days out of 14. Here, you're working 5 days out of 7, 5 days out of 7. So this is the leverage that you can create by just being smart about your fixed costs like rent, doing things out of your home or just renting a room, which is much cheaper than taking on a lease and having all of these other associated expenses like insurance, registration, all of these different things. If you just run this out of your home or a rented room and combine it with a one-to-many workshop or an online course, which is also easy to set up, which I teach on in other trainings, then you can generate more money than both of these, or about the same amount of money, but here you're doing it in half the time, with half the headaches, not worrying about managing other people. You're just doing your one-to-one sessions plus one workshop session once a fortnight. So this is the power of creating a good business structure, leveraging your time, valuing your services, and giving yourself the potential to help more people, to generate more income, more flexibility for yourself. Because if you really want to, you could literally just do 1 week and then the second week, just do something else. Go and do your passion, go and do your hobby, go and increase your knowledge and your skill, go and get educated in business so you can scale this up and then be helping many, many more people. So I hope that training's been really helpful for you. This is the economics of running a profitable wellness business. These are the different kinds of ways you can do it. So to find out more about running your one-to-one, one-to-many sessions, click on the link below and you'll get taken to a training about how to run those group sessions.